Hello, my name is Malena and I graduated from the University of Life. Today we're going to talk about a very important question that we all ask. Last time we're talking about not living where you hurt. Now we're going to be moving into something very important that a lot of us ask ourselves. When we're going through life, not everything is easy. We forget that about the beautiful things in life. So the question is, am I worthy of good things? Am I worthy of good things? Maybe I'm not. So how did you get to that question to ask yourself, am I worthy of good things? How did you get to that question? Well, I look around, perhaps you're married to a narcissist or you have a narcissistic relationship, you're like a victim of domestic violence, or you have no money, or you have a lot of debt, a lot of things you have to pay. Maybe you have people harassing you. Maybe you have friends that don't like you, parents that are ill, or children that are ill. Whatever it is that you're going through, or maybe you're not going through anything, it doesn't matter. But what is important to know is to ask yourself these questions. Am I worthy of good things, right? Am I worthy of happiness? Am I worthy of wealth, health, and happiness, and love, romantic love? All of us are. All of us are worthy of that. But there is a very, very important thing that I want to talk about today, and that is that 99% of humanity don't even know what they want. So what I tell people is do this. If you want a relationship, like let's say you want to get married or find a companion, you literally take a pen and paper and you write down one by one the things that you want about that person. Their physical appearance, their behavior, their financial situation, their family, their culture, their religion. You start writing down what you want on that person. You have to know what you want. You cannot go on a dating app and flip for looks, okay? Because almost everybody in the apps put the best picture that they can. And if they are me, like I put a lot of filters on my Instagram, then you might not find the right person because you're don't know what you want, you see? Then you go to one date and then end up maybe in bed by the second date, or even the first date, or kissing the same night that you guys met, or spending a lot of money for this lady or this guy or whatever, and you come home empty all over again to that loneliness. You're looking for someone to be your companion, okay? If you go on a dating app just to hook up, put there, I'm here to hook up. But we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss that, am I worthy of good things, right? And the reason why a lot of us don't find what we want in life, so that's why I gave the example of a partner, is because we don't know what we want, right? That's why the vision boards are so good, because the vision board, you put it, you cut the picture of a house that you like, you put the little cities where you want to visit, you put little cuttings of a car that you might want to buy or drive, and you start like knowing and putting out there what you want. You need to know what you want on every level. You need to know what you want from your children. You need to know what you want from your physical look. You need to know what you want with your money. You need to know what you want with a partner. You need to know what you want in your marriage. You need to know what you want at work. You need to know what you want. You don't go to, like when you're a child and you ask mom for an ice cream and you cry and cry, oh, I want an ice cream, I want an ice cream. And okay, she buys you an ice cream. And then she said, what flavor? And you continue to cry saying, I want an ice cream. And she buys pistachio. And the child starts crying, no, I hate pistachio, I want vanilla. Well, mom and the universe, God himself, wants to give you everything you want, the ice cream, but what flavor? You have to know exactly what you want. You cannot just cry and say what you want without knowing in detail what you want. You know, you need to know what you want in detail. You need to write it down. You need to be proactive. Visualize it, feel it, smell it. Also, meditate it. Close your eyes. Breathe the air of that. Oh my God, this is a beautiful house. Oh my God, this is a handsome guy. Oh, I love this job. Live it, feel it, embrace it, know what you want. If you go home and there's this feeling of I'm not happy here, this feeling like I can have more. If you don't feel happy with your body, with your hair, with anything, even the family, you need to write down what you want. And even in the writing of when there's family, for example, I said, right? Oh, but you're born with the family, there's no choice. There is a choice. You stay talking to the nice cousins and you ignore the other cousins, okay? And if mom and dad are like toxic, you're polite to them, but you also live your life apart. You honor them, you don't insult them, you don't hate them. So just keep your distance, a healthy distance. You're not obligated. You're not obligated to anyone just because of blood. You're not. You're not. Even Department of Social Services take children from their moms or parents that are a danger to them. They're not going to say, well, no, you're stuck with him because that's your mama and that's your daddy and you stay there. No. Why they put the children in foster homes is because they are not safe with the people that were supposed to take care of them, the people that were supposed to love them and protect them. And same thing with anything in life. You don't have to be bind into a family where your heart and yourself feel unsafe and hurt and unhappy. Happiness is possible, but the way it is possible for you to be able to get what you want, for you to know that you're worthy of good things, is by you knowing what you want. And believe it or not, write a list of 10 things that you want in life. And a lot of us have not sat down to write those 10 things. We haven't even thought about it. We just wake up, go to work, come home, clean, sometimes not even clean, just go on social media and don't do anything, and all over again. And then suddenly you go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy it's Friday. Why do you think people go, thank God it's Friday? Because everybody's waiting for that weekend. For what? For what? If every single day is a beautiful, delicious day that you can have. You can have a beautiful life. You can have everything you want. But you have to know what you want. What do you want? And you also have to understand that you don't have to stay where you are just because you're there. You have to be able to look outside the window and find out and think in your head, what's outside that window? What is outside that window? And what do I want once I'm outside that window? What do I want once I'm outside? Have I ever asked myself that question? Do I want to get married? Do I want to continue in this house? What do I want? Do I like this job? Do I hate this job? Do I like this car? Or I'm just like struggling to get to work because this car is wiggling and it's not working. What do you want? Did you know? It's interesting that there's people who really doesn't like rich people. There's a guy who said he saved money to buy himself a really nice car, and he's driving on the road, and suddenly this other guy spits at his car and says, you rich people think you're all that. And he was shocked. He didn't even know why this guy on the road, a total stranger, just hated him for no reason. Not everybody wants to be rich, and not everybody loves rich people. A lot of them even think like rich people are arrogant, or rich people are like happy and that they just have everything. But that's not what it is. That's not what it is. For you to be able to understand that you deserve everything is for you to know what you want. But even if you're wealthy and you don't know what you want, you won't be happy. There's very wealthy people who have committed suicide. Why? This depression that took them away, when there's so many things you can do to help yourself. you know, when you can do so much for the people you love and see the signs of what they're going through, you know, or what you're going through. Identify. When did all started? When did you start feeling not enough? When did you start feeling that it's not worth it anymore? When did you get to the moment where you're exhausted and I can't do it anymore? When did you get to the point where there's no, I can't do this anymore? And the only way I would love to help you is to tell you that just take one day at a time, a little moment at a time. And the day has 24 hours, so take little increments of little things that make you feel good for you. And one of those things that help a lot is to write one little sentence. I want this. I want that. I want so and so. I want respect from my children. I want respect from my boss. I want everything that you want. You put it out there. You put it out there and you start realizing, wait a minute, I have this feelings of all these things I want. Because when you end up in a place where you're so sad to the point of feeling that there is no way, no exit, no nothing, that's because a lot of the times there was never that question of what does my heart and my soul and me, what do I want? Because you stop asking that question as a little child. Children don't think of what do I want. They look at a toy and they want it, you know? And they play and they laugh and that's why videos and tablets and iPhones are not good for babies, because the babies are so naturally happy, easily distracted, and you can read to them and they'll learn to read, they learn the letters. But I notice a lot of people put their kids this screen in front of their face at the market, at the restaurants, to keep them distracted. But distracted of what? What would the baby know? Imagine what we're doing to all the generations when they get older and older. Is this baby going to know what he wants? Has he experienced running outside in the yard and on the bike? Has he gotten bruised or a broken arm? Like when we were little, we had casts going to school, you know, everybody signing our little broken arm. You know, we stop knowing what we want. We stop saying what we want as we get older, as if it's wrong to want. So what happens, a lot of us continue knowing what we want. A lot of us think we know what we want, and then suddenly we find ourselves adults in a marriage that does not have a loving relationship, a marriage that doesn't have all the give and take, and then suddenly we start feeling empty again, and suddenly we start feeling that we don't know what we want, but we know that we're not happy, right? So how do we get out of that not knowing what we want? The only way is to write it down. Write 10 things, and then each day you work on one. But don't think that, oh, I have 10 things, I'm going to work each day on one. You literally work on one for maybe a week or two until you get it, until you say, how did I get it? How did I get to this point? Well, the way to get it is to know what you want and work little by little towards getting what you want. But another thing about wanting and getting is that you don't have to have the resistance of saying, I want it, with this anxiety that I get because I don't have it. But knowing that you want it is very important, because once you know what you want, you're able to work towards that goal. If it's a beautiful body, you start saying, yeah, I want it. Do you really want it? But why do you don't go to the gym? Well, first of all, I don't have energy. Okay, then you don't want to lose weight. Yes, I do. And you know why? Many people that don't exercise because they feel so tired, sometimes they might have they might be anemic. They might have deficiency in some kind of vitamin. So knowing what you want is important. And then once you know what you want, you start looking into see how you can take care of yourself. What do you need to do to take care of yourself to get to the point of you being able to get up to go to the gym, you being able to go hike, you being able to go for a walk, you being able to go for a dance class. you being able to reach out to people that takes you to do activities, walk around the park. And gardening is nice. It's slow, but still keeps you moving, keeps you healthy, keeps you breathing, and learning how to eat well. All those things is like, oh, it takes discipline. No, it doesn't take discipline. I think what everything takes more than discipline is takes love for yourself, caring about you. Stop abandoning yourself. Like the last lecture said, don't live with your hurt. And a lot of our hurts is even our health. So how do we do that? We need to know, first of all, what do we want? What is it that you want? And learning how to be able to learn to understand your deepest desires. Because in your mind, you might think like, oh, I want to stop working. I don't want to be working anymore. I want like maybe a sugar daddy, or I want a sugar mommy. You might think that, right? But you might say it jokingly, and maybe that's what you want. Even your wants have to be honest with yourself. What do you really, really, really want? Just like when you go to a buffet, there's all kinds of different foods, and doesn't mean you're gonna eat everything in there, but you in your mind and in your heart and in your stomach, you say, oh my God, this is delicious. I'm gonna eat this, and you choose what you want. You make a conscious decision to put on your plate what you're choosing to eat. And even when you already have it in your plate and you taste it, it's not what you wanted, right? That's why when you go to a buffet, you leave a lot of stuff on the plate. Why? Because that's not really what I wanted. It's not because the food wasn't good, but you just know. So even when you already think you know what you want, it can also be something that you don't want. So learning what you want in your mind, in your heart, in your soul is very important. Very important. You cannot just say, I want this. No, it has to come like a deep desire. This is what I really, really like. You know, like the Olympic athletes, they really like it and they get good at it. They get good at it because they really know what they want and they really work on it because they like it and they love it and they work hard at it. So that's what I mean. You need to know what you want. You need to know really what you want. But when you know what you want, you feel it in your heart. You feel it. You just enjoy it. You love it. You just thinking about it makes you happy. Just thinking about this romantic love makes you happy. And then you fall in love with someone that's married. Maybe you want someone that looks like that, behaves like that, but is not married. So you didn't even know what you wanted even at that. So it's the worst idea you can do. The worst thing you can do in your entire life is to be with someone that is married, thinking that I hope one day they leave their wife. I hope one day they leave their husband. Well, even if they do, even if they leave the wife or the husband for you, you didn't have the complete relationship. A pure, clean relationship. Because for him or her to leave that person for you, you'll be happy. Okay, both of you are happy. But at the expense of somebody else's hurt, somebody else's pain, someone that was totally innocent, right? He left the wife for you. The wife is innocent, suffering for no reason. There's even women also that leave the husband with the kids and go with another man. So she's with the other man at the expense of the pain of leaving the husband with the kids. That has no balance, no natural balance, no spiritual balance, no moral balance. So sooner or later, it's not karma. It's just that you didn't know what you wanted. So you just went with that. This is what I want. And believe it or not, you're gonna get hurt because you didn't know what you wanted to begin with. So learn to know what you want in a clean, pure, healthy, mental, spiritual, moral way. And believe it or not, things will come to you so easy without you knowing how it got to you. How did you build your wealth? Well, I did this thing with so much passion that I did it. I did it with passion. I did it with love, and it worked. Why did it work? Why is it working for me? It's working for you because you wrote down what you wanted, but you wrote it with selfless love and lots of love for you. You gave yourself the love that you deserve, and you ask for what you wanted. The sky is the limit when you want. When you want something, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. Sometimes we look like at people that have created spaceships, created the electricity, invented all kinds of different amazing things that we use now. We say, wow, they're geniuses. No, they did something with passion. They did it because they wanted to. The most famous movie stars, when you look at them, they are acting with so much passion. They are doing, and they cry, and they make 100 million people cry because they're so good at it. And you know where they're so good at it? Because they love it, and that's what they wanted, right? That's what they wanted, so they became these big actors that blow our minds, that make us go like, oh my God. They're able to touch our hearts and our minds and move our imagination. Why are they able to do that? Because they did it with passion, because they knew what they wanted. And because when they had that passion and they pour it, they got wealth, they got stability, they got fame, they got love by a lot of fans, they got hated by a lot of fans, they got everything. Just like when you give that love to yourself, you're gonna start receiving the love that you deserve by divine right to you. You're gonna start getting the love, the respect, the everything that you want. You also have to do the meditations. I suggested from the beginning, Joe Dispersa, because you're able to change your mind and yourself through emptying the thoughts and connecting to the universe and becoming a different version of yourself. One of the worst things that I hear people says, that's how I am. What you want me to do? That's how I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. So everybody's gonna like put up with you just because that's who you are. No, you can change. You can change. If you're amazing, you can be more amazing. If you're successful, you can be more successful. But the most important thing is not the money or anything like that. What's important is your health and your happiness and your stability and your understanding that life is delicious. Please write down what you want. Please write down what you want. Please work really hard on knowing what you want. And if you don't want to watch me ever again, I don't care. But I do want you to please write at least one thing that you really want with all your heart. Something that you will. I really, really want this. All my heart. You write it and you do it. And you don't have to watch me again. And you don't even have to subscribe because I don't even ask you to subscribe. All I want you to do, at least from anything that I talk in all my videos, if you learn one thing that makes you happy, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. Okay? Thank you.